So, Bill, first, it's great to have you on as the nominee. And I know you've got a lot of work to do between now and November, but there are big issues facing the country right now when it comes to the economy. And the president is trying to take action when Congress is just failing to do so.
Indeed, Jordan. Great to be back with you all, and hello to Jay too.
Hi, Bill.
Yeah, the president had to step up. I talked with him. Of course, I talked with him Thursday night after the election. That was an exciting time, and to get his congratulatory call was great. It's funny. I was on the phone with Ivanka on one phone, and then her dad called on the other. But great conversation that night, all about bringing our party together, having another conservative alongside Marsha Blackburn to serve in the Senate for Tennessee, and then how we're going to win in November. But when we talked over the weekend, when the president and I talked over the weekend, we talked a lot about the executive orders and how important it is to get our economy restarted. And the fact is that the Democrats seem more interested in halting progress on our economy. The Democrats want to put politics over the American people. And, we need strong fighters who understand the economy in the Senate and will get things moving again. So I applauded the president for taking action. As you all know, it would have been great if Congress could have come to terms, but the House was not going to do it. Nancy Pelosi was not going to do it. They left town without a deal, and the president was left with the American people who need help. So,
and I think Bill, I think the president had no choice. I mean, I look at the executive order, and of course, I'm friends with Pat Cipollone, the White House counsel, who's carefully drafted these documents and viewed them. But you look at the two major aspects of it. One is relief to people that are unemployed still, that $400 per week supplement, in addition to the state unemployment. And then the reduction of the payroll tax, which is a direct help to people that are employed to the tune of 7.5% of their paycheck. So that's real dollars that go to them. And as you said, Congress couldn't get it done. But in our view, these were have-tos. I mean, you cannot leave the American people hanging because any particular political party is trying to make a political issue out of people surviving between now and the end of the year with a very unknown pandemic.
Yeah, and it's not the first time we've seen it. Nancy Pelosi held up the CARES Act, too. First time for 5 days when we were trying to put the initial PPP program in, and then at 10 days the second time when we were trying to extend it. So it's all about politics on the Democrat side.
Another question. This is one I wanted to ask you for a while, and that is, China has been an offender here. That's being kind. And I know you've got a lot of expertise in Asia, Japan, but also in the entire region. And I'm looking at the situation with China, the amount of trade that we do with China, the amount of debt that China holds in the United States, and yet this pandemic in large part is the result of China's either negligence or worse. But let's assume just for the sake of this, it's just negligence. So you have this pandemic that takes place. The economic impact of it has been more than the debt that we owe the Chinese. They own a lot of our debt. Well, how do you handle this moving forward when you're in the United States Senate?
Well, I think we have to acknowledge the threat that China has become. It has been something that's concerned me for years. I think now the American public has had an opportunity to wake up to it, though. As you mentioned, when I was serving as United States ambassador to Japan, Japan is the cornerstone of all of our operations in the Asia Pacific. We have more military stationed there than any place else in the world. The reason is that's where we deal with threats like North Korea and China, right there at the doorstep. And the concern with China is extensive. It's not just economic. They have been aggressive militarily. They've increased their military budget eightfold over the past couple of decades. As you know, they're building basically islands that are military bases on the South China Sea, the busiest trade lane in the world. They have been very aggressive diplomatically, taking over organizations like the World Health Organization. Their influence there is untoward. And then with the respect to economics, they've been doing this game for years. They steal our intellectual property. If you want to do business there, you've got to transfer your technology, and they heavily subsidize their industries to unfairly compete. But now that that this pandemic that they unleashed on the world has really uncovered the fact that we are far too dependent on China. They've been able to overtake our industry, so we now depend on them for medical supplies, our antibiotics, and certainly high technology. We cannot do that any longer, and I think everyone in America has woken up to that now. So I want to see us get those jobs back, get our supply chains back on shore, and strengthen America from a national security standpoint as well as an economic standpoint.